The following program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption.
Today's broadcast is being simulcast in broken English.
I'm here to show the world. I'm here to show the world.
Welcome to the show that we're doing right now.
What the hell are we doing on this show?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Let's go.
What is this?
Giggity, 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 goo.
Who else but
The Q.
it's showtime?
Gentlemen, let's get down to business.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Yeah, I can dig it, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Q. You're listening to the best pop culture, current events, current affairs show east or west of that Mississippi River, hailing from the great city of St. Louis and worldwide at theqnow.com. I am your host, Mark Bland, and this is Birthday Weekday, whatever you want to call it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Mark Bland to have his birthday, and we are going to celebrate it here on this episode of The Q. Joining me today on this episode of The Q is none other than my cohort in crime, Mr. Jason Kull. What's going on, Jason?
I wish I had one of those air horns, those DJ air horns. I could have give you one of those. Wop, 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 wop.
Now, I can tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. When this past, it's been a week. It's been a week since the last show, right? But as soon as this past Sunday night happened, I got texts and calls from Jason almost immediately.
Right?
We are definitely doing the show this week, right? And I was like, yes. He's like, good, because I really want to come on the show and talk about this whole Will Smith situation at the Oscars. And it is, by far, if there is a news story, like, you know what's really funny? It's 2022. We've lived with the internet for a long time. We watched a lot of big stories come into our world and then fade out into the distance. And you know what? I think it would be really fun on one of these future shows here really soon, like within the next few months. I think it would be really fun if we went back to like 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, you know, up to about 15. Right? Just grab that chunk of years right there, maybe like 10 to 15 or whatever like that. And then just go find the biggest news stories that were talked about. Because, you know, at the end of the year, they have these lists and things like that. Find the biggest news stories that were talked about in each year. And then just do a little segment where we talk about the things we completely forgot about that were huge news, because this Will Smith, Chris Rock thing has now been going on nonstop online for like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever it is. It's been going on now, and it's just not let up.
And the memes are just now starting, really. I mean, there's different ones.
Some of the ones right off the front. Some of the ones right off the front, like everybody hates Chris with the picture of him smacking him underneath. That's a really good one. I really, my favorite one, the Batman and Robin one is still by far, to me, the best one, because it hit out so early, but it was such a perfect like juxtaposition of the exact same thing.
It's almost the same follow through.
And honestly, if they were the superheroes in a movie, I totally saw Chris Rock as Robin. I totally see Will Smith as Batman.
Men in Black 4 is terrible.
No, my point being, it was a huge story, and there's so many stories that have come and gone that we completely forgot about. Like, people don't realize it's only been a year and a half since Donald Trump left office, or what, like a year and a month, since he left office. But I
feel like my vacation.
People forgot that there was the whole day where he had COVID. And the mask, and trying to get on the helicopter, and then trying to get off, and all
could barely
walk or breathe, and he's trying to stand up there with everybody at the White House to look all straight. But that was a huge news story that everybody talked about.
Yeah, you brought that up. Speaking of, remember when he inexplicably saluted when he got up? Remember?
Oh yeah.
Just a salute.
You don't even know why.
What was he doing?
It's okay. Okay. Off the top of your head, while we're on this subject for right this moment, we'll do this episode in the future with the segment where we do this. But off the top of your head right now, since you've been on the internet, so think of all those years you've been on the internet,
like 97, maybe.
Sure. Like, well, I don't want to count AOL and all that. Yeah, but you're right.
In the last 25 years.
No. You're right.
No, I know what you mean. Like the internet, how it is now.
No. In 97,
Like 97 was my first experience with it, but I don't even know if there was a Yahoo then.
Well, my point being, 97, we knew that we had web crawler.
That's right.
We had the ability to search things.
Well, I guess
you had to have
Americana
and Mosaic. Netscape or Mosaic, you had to have one of those browsers. Like, okay. So, yeah, I don't really count anything from 95 to about 2000, 2001, I don't count.
No.
Once I hit 2000, that's when AT&T High Speed starts to bring, high-speed internet to people's houses.
You really weren't surfing
and that's
the internet.
when you started to really see the internet develop the way we know of it today. And so what I'm asking you is, since that inception of the internet, the way we know it today.
Yeah, like the last 20 years.
The last 20 years. Pretty much, from 2000 until today. Yeah. What's the biggest news story you remember on social media, on the internet, that was everywhere, constantly talked about? I know what it is for me. It was the marathon bombing. It was the Boston Marathon bombing.
That was huge.
With the Sarnoff brothers or whatever their names were, and the guy hiding in the boat. And for hours they were doing the manhunt, remember? Everywhere. And anybody who had a backpack immediately was a suspect and was the baddest. Worst. And they were just taking it and putting pictures of random people on streets in Boston on Twitter and stuff. And people were accosting individuals because they thought they were the killer.
Locally, that blew up nationally, that I could watch it both ways.
Rittenhouse last year for sure.
With my local news, and then getting online and seeing.
Yeah, for sure. I'm talking about overall biggest stories.
Maybe the kidnapping of the one kid, and then they found Sean Hornbeck.
Yes, that was
because it was
for here,
but it was everywhere
for here. And you know what? I famously,
or Michael Brown, I guess.
Well, here's the problem. I always had an issue, and I famously, when that first happened, that was 2012.
Yeah, it was a long time.
2011, 2012, because I think it was 2011 because I was at Two Guys Talking with Mike Wilkerson and those guys over there, and that's where I was doing the Q at the time, and I had a security guy, a private investigator, come on my show. Literally, it was already planned out that he was going to be on the show because back then I would plan out weeks in advance for certain things. Just the way that my schedule worked out and how I've developed as a human being over the last 10 years.
Imagine that. Right?
Imagine that. Okay, so he was already planned out for a few weeks. He just happened to come on the day after they found Sean Hornbeck. Yeah. And so the story that we talked about on that episode of the Q, and you can go find this, you can go look this up. They might still have it at the Two Guys Talking website. If not, I can always put a link up at the QNow.com for it, because the Q Now website only has the stuff starting at about episode 1 something on. It doesn't have the original
early stuff,
first 100 episodes of the show, which was the first 2 years of the show.
Yeah. Spotify removed some of them.
I didn't have this. Well, no.
You know what? We've never said the N-word together. How's that?
What's that?
We've never said the N-word in a show together. So Spotify could never remove.
Well, they could never remove us.
We've never had to do that.
No. So there are at least 100 episodes that people don't. If they go to twoguystalking.com, which is the number 2, then guystalking.com, they might still have the old episodes up from the original thing. But once I left there and switched over to the radio side for the syndication and everything, that's when I developed the website. So the website, I had to get separate hosting behind the scenes through Libsyn, which I've had for many, many years, thanks to a wonderful sponsor who works with the show as a private investor into our show. They appreciate independent media, independent journalism, and opinionation, and all of that. They love commentation. They enjoy what we try to do with the Q for many years here, which was talk about these things. Yeah, I know you guys hear us make fun of Trump, and you hear us make fun of this person, and that we always talk trash on conservatives, you think, and that we never, ever, ever go the other direction. We never, ever attack the liberals and stuff like this. But for this area, I'm a moderate, guys. This is about as liberal as it gets, if you want to consider this liberal at all, for the area that I live in. Don't get me wrong. There are some
for this area.
There are some people who are more liberal, like Jason. Now, Jason also grew up in Iowa, and he lived in other cities and places.
We're about to attack the liberals here in a second when we get on this Will Smith.
Yeah, but my point being is that with that being said, us as liberals is kind of subjective to the area that we're in. Like,
Yeah.
to a person in San Francisco listening to my show,
word.
Jason sounds like a more liberal person than I do, and I sound like I could be potentially a racist hate monger for some reason. Like, I've never understood. And I want to talk a little bit about race on here, because I think that maybe we can start to get into it a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about this Will Smith thing. So the Oscars held their latest entry into the to the Academy Awards the other day, and our friend Will Smith was sitting there with his wife, Jada Pinkett. Well, Chris Rock was doing a monologue on stage, and this was at the top of the show. Like, this is like right off the bat.
Like nearly an hour before he won, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's crazy. Like, this is literally like, I think this is a monologue Chris Rock was supposed to deliver, like a Saturday Night Live type thing, up front. Ahead of everybody, or he was just given this carte blanche to do this. Either way, Chris Rock goes up there and he cracks a joke about Will Smith's wife. And he makes a joke about how she's bald. And from there, you can see from the video, Will Smith originally laughs at the joke, kind of laughs it off. And you can see his wife's face is a little different. You know, hers was more of a begrudging smirk. At best, she was a begrudging smirk at best. But then there was a moment where Will turns and looks at his wife, and that's where her face changes, and that's where the moment Will gets up, walks straight up onto the stage, live on and he just smacks Chris Rock in the face.
A guy with his hands behind his back.
And everybody's like, well, it must be staged. He leaned in this. I was like, actually, to be honest with you, because of California, because of COVID, because of how they still are treating things like that there, and because it's an interesting situation when a very well-known and famous movie actor walks up on the stage, who's also a friend of yours, and as he's approaching you, you're wondering, hey, if I lean in, or he'll lean in and say something to me so that I know what's going on, or he needs to tell me something that's important, like that. And that's where it happens. I think that's where the miscommunication was. I think that he was leaning in to see what Will had to say or was going to say to him, and that's when Will just hit him.
But the look of Chris Rock, it looks like he thinks Will Smith's about ready to do a bit with him.
Exactly.
Like an impromptu kind of goof bit, like maybe pretend to choke him or something silly. But no,
that's not what it was.
Happened.
And Will walks away very, I wouldn't say arrogant, but he was very staunch in his stance on what he just did. He didn't seem remorseful in it at the moment.
Well, then he yelled and
then he screamed, "Keep my wife's name out your MFing mouth."
Right?
Okay.
I like how Will Smith goes quote unquote ghetto when it serves his purpose.
Then he says it again to Chris Rock, and Chris Rock on stage basically says, "Yeah, I'll do that, no problem. It's not going to happen." Now, we have learned since this, like I said, it has been whirlwind on social media and in the news for the last few days or whatever. We have found out that there was an apology given by Will Smith.
Yep.
I think he posted it to social media originally.
Instagram, I think.
Whichever thing. He posted it to social media apologizing to Chris and the Academy and everybody else and all that stuff, which was very honorable of him.
No,
and Chris Rock also himself. Chris Rock also himself sincerely sent an apology out saying that he stepped over a line he didn't mean to, and this is one of those situations where these lines are hard to figure out sometimes, and he apologized to Will and his family. Yeah. Okay, everybody seems like that they've apologized as far as the main players go. But now we're finding out weird little things. And we also noticed weird little things. Jason, you just brought up an hour later, Will Smith, or an hour and a half later, closer to the end of the show, Will Smith wins Best Actor as portraying Richard Williams, which is Serena and Venus Williams. It was a great movie. I enjoyed the movie. No. Will Smith literally did great. He nailed the part. To be absolutely honest with, as a person who went to school to train people to be actors and this, that, and the other, watching that movie, Will Smith definitely earned the nomination. And if he won it, I wasn't going to be surprised. And I even told my wife that when we first watched the movie. It was really well done how well that man acted that part out. Now, the only problem is that just an hour and a half earlier, you punched a guy in the face live on national TV.
During your industry's biggest night.
We also found out that you were asked to leave.
Yeah.
After the security and individuals came over and the people from the Academy came over to talk to you and said that they wanted you to leave the premises. And you refused to leave the premises. Not showing humbleness at all. not being remorseful or polite about the
love
situation or realizing that there was wrong being done. Now, we're going to get into this a lot deeper, people. Don't hang up on us yet. You're going to have to stick with us. Stick with us through this commercial break coming up, because we definitely are going to get into a little deeper. But then we found out that Will Smith accepted the award. He goes up and he accepts the award, and he talks about how being in Richard's place was a lot like you got to protect your family, and you got to, and you could tell that he was quasi trying to relate the situation from earlier to the actual situation he was dealing with winning the Oscar for Best Actor.
When he did that, that's when it starts to bug me. When he pretends it was defending someone.
And we're going to get into that, because where Jason stands on this and where I stand on this are two completely different spots. Yes. So I want everybody to realize that. So we're going to take a quick break here on The Q. When we come back here on my birthday show, The Q, which, by the way, we also got coming up the 500th episode of The Q, which I had plans for it to be bigger, but you know what? I'm going to work with what I got, and we're going to make it happen, and it's going to be fun, and you guys are going to have a lot of good stuff to listen to. So stay with us. We'll be back on The Q. Mark and Jason Kull right after this.
If she wants to dance and drink all night, well, there's no one that can stop her.
There's growing outrage today over the smack heard around the world.
Oh, wow.
Some are calling on the Academy Awards to take away Will Smith's Oscar. The actor became enraged after Chris Rock poked fun at Smith's wife Jada's bald head.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Smith seems to find it funny at first, but Jada's eye roll indicates her displeasure.
Uh-oh, Richard.
And then it happens. Smith drew back and slapped Rock across the face with his open hand. Chris Rock is stunned, almost knocked off his feet by the blow, but he keeps his cool.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Smith is not done. Back at his seat, he starts screaming at Rock. In the U.S., the audio was cut by ABC, but across the world, it was broadcast live and uncensored.
Wow, dude.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's name out your mouth.
I'm going to, okay?
Welcome back to The Q. Mark Bland, Jason Kull, 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO News Radio, KYRO.com. We are your elite station for all of the news that you want, as well as you get The Q. That's right, you get us, right. Me, Jason Kull, my birthday show. We're sitting here, we're talking about this Will Smith situation with Chris Rock. We kind of laid out in the last segment everything that happened and kind of where we stand. Now, where we differ, Jason, is we kind of have our own ways that we approach this. Now, Jason, your vibe, your feelings on what you saw and how people should view this.
He was just an overreactive jerk. I mean, here's the thing.
Do you think it was an overreaction?
Yeah, of course. I mean, first off, he laughed.
I don't know if it was an overreaction.
Well,
see, this is the thing. Here's the thing. Let me put this on the table before we go any further, because I think it'll lead to deeper conversation for this segment. I am of the impression that they were both right and they were both wrong, all at the same time, all within the same situation, and that I'm not going to knock them one way or the other. And I know you're like, that's not taking a stance. No. It legitimately is, and I can explain. Okay? I just wanted to make sure I put that out on the table so that people knew where I was coming from or where my stance was or why I'm questioning certain aspects, because I don't think it was, as you said, a overreaction by any means whatsoever. A man is live on stage in front of the world making fun of your wife over something that maybe you and her know she's got a real problem with, an issue with. Now, we've known Jada Pinkett Smith over the years to have short hair. We've seen her in movies with short hair. This is not unknown for her to have short hair or anything like that. But she has alopecia.
100% truth. I did not know that.
Right. No one
until
knew.
This happened.
No one knew. I don't think anyone knew that she
Right?
had alopecia. Either way,
I just assumed
hair
she
loss,
shaved her head.
general hair loss. Okay,
Right?
exactly.
I just assumed it was a fashion statement.
Let's be honest, guys. This is a family with Jaden and Willow, and they're always dressed in weird and
Right?
androgynous. So
Dresses.
like this is all part of this is who they've
right?
always been for many, many decades now.
Yeah.
So like this doesn't surprise anyone that she would look this way. Now, there's no reason to ever make light of somebody's physical medical condition if you know about it.
If you knew. Yes. 100%.
But if you don't know, but Chris Rock said and claimed, I didn't know.
No. Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking. I didn't know.
You can't slap someone for that.
Now, so if you're talking about my wife in a negative way, and she knows about something and I know about something that's private to us, but we don't want the whole world like looking at them in that light or whatever like that, I could take that in a very personal way about my wife Angie. And I could smack some person in the face,
of course,
for doing the exact same thing. So I don't knock Will for that. Chris Rock is there to do a job, and Chris Rock's job is to make the people laugh. And sometimes, like they say, comedy is just tragedy plus time.
Yep.
Mixed with a joke about it.
Yep.
And then you have comedy.
Yep.
And here's the thing. The time part. It's not the joke part. It's not the tragedy part that's hard to figure out in that. It's always how much time can pass. Like, literally. When you got the Gilbert Gottfrieds of the day making fun of the tsunami victims literally as they are like that day and night as it happened, like, and then he immediately had to come out and apologize. That's obviously, you didn't let time pass for this tragedy.
No.
Okay? At the same point, Chris Rock had no idea there was a tragedy or the time needed to pass. So he's just cutting jokes in the way that he knows. And even Will Smith admitted within his job, this is part of, this comes with the territory. And he's been in a lot of situations where they crack jokes on him and on him too.
Yeah.
Like, so they all understand this. But Chris Rock wasn't in the wrong for doing his job.
Well, Andy,
and cracking an innocent joke.
He called her G.I. Jane, too. G.I. Jane is a movie about an empowered woman trying to...
Sure, you could go that route, but everybody knows they were talking about the fact that on the cover she's bald and everybody
that's what I mean.
saw that.
That's what I mean. It was
that.
obviously a dig at the fact that she shaved her head, but it's not like he called her like Uncle Fester. Like he wasn't making fun of her appearance in a terrible way.
Now, where I agree with you is Will Smith has to understand, first off, when you're in a position of that power, you're The Rock, you're Will Smith, you're George Clooney, you're Brad Pitt.
You're a top A-level
You're Julia Roberts, Michelle Pfeiffer. Like, you name a person who's at the upper echelon of this game of acting, okay? You have to be able to read a room. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to read a room. It's important. Because what got you to where you're at is your networking abilities and the individuals that you like to bump into and work with and the ability for them to network and get things bumping, boom, 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 boom. Before you know it, you're bumping into the right players at the right levels, okay? So it took that reading of the room skill to get to where you're at. You should have read the room better. You also knew you were up for an Academy Award that night. So if you did something like that, that could be looked at in a negative way. And I'm sure your publicist told you all of this, Will. I'm sure that they did. But because of that aspect, I feel like it wasn't an overreaction. It was just a bad move. It was you allowed your conservative side to come out, as we would say. You allowed the emotional aspect of your life to dictate who you were at that moment.
It's fantastic you said that because we are connected. The conservative side, my next statement was going to be...
And that doesn't mean Will Smith's conservative.
No.
I'm not saying that.
No, it's that he basically did what Trump did in 2016. He empowered every idiot who's racist, who's mean, who's bigoted to be okay with doing it in public. And now some guy is going to be at the funny bone who nobody knows, and some jerk is going to be like, I don't like that comment, and he's going to walk up on stage and hit someone. I guarantee it happens.
Now, if I could finish this off, I've done the other three. Let me get the last one. Why Chris Rock is wrong. And it's not because Chris Rock is wrong. I don't think Chris Rock is wrong. Like I said, he was doing his job. Yeah. And I understand what the job is. So that's fine. But comedians walk around with a certain style of impunity when it comes to where the line for crossing a line is. And they feel that because they're doing it in the vein of comedy, then anything is on board to be played with. And that is not the case.
No. All
the time. Like, once again, reading your room. Yeah. You're at the Oscars. okay, the Oscars is not a small club with 200 people in the basement of a New York bar.
Exactly.
Like on a Friday night at 11:30. Like it's not time to get up there and pull the Andrew Dice Clay. Like it's just not that spot. Now, you want to do that at the pageant at your own personal show for or you were talking about Chris Rock has shows that he's on tour right now and stuff like that. So you want to do that to your own theater, your own group, or if you're at an event that's a smaller setting where you were brought in to specifically that's fine. In front of the entire world, in the number one genre of entertainment, and there's millions watching around the world. It's not just in the United States. There's millions watching around the world. There are actors and actresses in movies that are up for an Academy Award from around the world.
I mean, you'd have to be more professional.
You just have to think a little bit more beyond that. Now, this is not knocking comedians. This is not saying that you don't have the ability to tell good jokes or be funny about tragic or even what we would consider edgier events. But now that I've put that all on the table, Jay, let us move forward. Let's talk about this racial aspect.
Okay.
You talked about the idea that by doing that, it makes all the bigots and prejudicial people think, well, it's okay to respond in an emotional way because
100%
he hit him.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to him. He was not escorted out.
Right.
He was awarded down the road just an hour and a half later for something that was completely unrelated. But at the same point, this is the event where that award's being given out specifically for that genre of entertainment. So, yes, connected, 100% connected. And when you see this as a person, you go, yep. Now, also, how about this aspect? There's stereotypes associated with every culture. And people of color have specific stereotypes associated with them. And we've talked about that on this show before. Some of those stereotypes are they tend to be loud. But one of the other stereotypes that has been prevalent throughout the years, they have talked about this. This is mass incarceration discussions we've had on this show. They've had on other news programs. They discussed it on late night with different guests. This is there is this idea of violence. And violence being associated with people of color. And not all people of color, specifically black people. Not people who are Indian and just happen to be dark complexion, or a person who's American Indian, or a person who's Mexican or whatever. Specifically to African American and black Americans of that section of culture. They tend to be violent. That's why there's mass incarceration. This is the argument. So this might have empowered people who are bigoted to go, see? Right. That's exactly what I expect from people like that. But we're also dealing with a different aspect of those people. These are wealthy, rich men. They have nothing to want for. They are not in trouble. They are not enslaved. They are not incarcerated. They're not being held against their will at anything. They have more money in their bank than even you know what to do with.
Oh, yeah.
Much less themselves.
Will Smith's probably worth like $400 million.
My point being, these are wealthy people. And to some others, I heard this. Well, that's what I expect from the rich. They can get away with things. The rich can slap you live on TV,
and
destroy your ego, and make your entire persona look like worthlessness to the entire universe. Walk out with full impunity, never arrested, never taken down, never touched, and sat right front row and got awarded for it later. Yep, that's how the rich work. They always get something down the road. Listen, how many billionaires who were pedophiles got another billion the next week and had another yacht? You tell me, because Mark Bland is working with Jason Kull on small radio stations, which isn't a knock on KYRO or any other radio station here in the St. Louis area or these regions or anything like that. Everybody's doing their thing. We're fine. Everybody's good. But, yeah.
I mean, I personally know someone who, at an event for their industry, got physical with another person, and they got fired.
Right.
They didn't get an award later that night.
And we don't get awards for just being on these shows and doing these, that's what I'm saying. I would love to be able to go to the Oscars and take pictures with my wife. I'd love to get to walk up on stage and receive an Oscar or a Grammy or an Emmy or whatever, Tony. It doesn't matter.
All over me, tell me how wonderful I am.
Of course you would. Who would want to jeopardize that? But there's this theory that if you got money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can get away with those things now. But let's talk about this. We have had a lot. everybody always wants to talk about race. Let's talk about race. I had an issue this past week where somebody, they said that there was an issue with my discussion with them. Yeah. And that they felt threatened by it or something. I don't exactly. But my point being, like, we were discussing affirmative action, and it's like they told their point of view and what they wanted to say. I was going to say my point of view and what I wanted to say. But before I posted this out there and said it, this person comes back and says, "Well, you don't understand."
I don't know. I think I can put myself in any situation.
I don't understand. Well, hold on. Let me come from this point of view, Jason. If I could put on my white hat for a moment, if you don't mind.
I have one of those.
From the day I was born, which, by the way, let's start off with this. There is no understanding of who we are and what we become and what we're born into this world as. We don't know any of this prior to the moment we're born. And then until we get older and learn and understand better through, like, patience and age and wisdom and all these other things. Like, no one knows they're black. No one knows they're white. No one's walking into this world like, oh, I'm white. I got it made. No, I didn't even know I was white. You don't even realize you're white other than when you're young, you see it in the mirror, but you don't even associate the words and the context and all that until you start to get older and you run into other people who live in other families and they're of different colors and they're like, okay. But from my first day I was born, and Jason's, by the way, too, first day he was born, he immediately was born into, you're the people who went out of their way to hurt my people, and you are a piece of trash for it, and you should be looked down on every single day of your life for that, because this happened many, many years ago, and you didn't know you were going to be born white, and I didn't know I was going to be born black and find this as a problem in the first place. I didn't even know I was going to be offended yet.
Yeah.
Do you understand? There are people that didn't even realize they were going to be born offended. And they were going to be offended at people that didn't even know they were born into a situation that happened hundreds of years earlier. Okay. That doesn't mean racism doesn't exist. And that doesn't mean that I think that racism is okay. But if you claim from day one of being born that I'm part of the game, and I'm part of the team that made the rules, and I'm part of the team that knows how to use the rules to its advantage, how do I not know the game? Name a person who decides to play hide and seek, just goes and hides. Never tells another player, never understands what's going on, like, just doesn't know the rules at all. They just said, I'm going to play hide and seek, goes and sits in a closet, and no one ever knew any better. Like, does anyone do that? No. No one does that except for 2-year-olds who don't even realize they're talking about hide and seek. They just decide to go get in a closet and sit down for a little while because they're 2. Do you see my point? Anyone who understands rules knows whoever's making the rules up knows the game. So how could I ever not understand? You just accused me and my entire culture, white culture. This isn't racism. Mm-hmm. Jason, am I being racist, or is this just honest, direct, forward information that you've experienced yourself? Yeah. You've been around black people who've made their comments. You've been around white people who've made racist and bigoted comments too towards other people. Like, we're human. We're adults.
Oh yeah,
we're in our 40s and 50s here. Do you understand? Like, we are adults, so we've been around the block many a times over these decades. We know exactly what we're talking about. We're not trying to be rude. I have Jonathan May, and we have other people that we love who've come on this show and brought all of their culture with it and argued with me and yelled at me and called me racist right here in front of Jason. Like, literally, and we allow it to fly every time, don't we, Jay? Yeah. Have we ever cut it out of a show? No, ever.
It's a conversation.
It's part of the conversation. But I like those conversations. Okay, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about this. We'll be back on KYRO after this.
No, honey, I'm good. I could have another, but I probably should not. I got somebody at home. It's been a long night here and a long night there, and these long, long legs are damn near everywhere. Hold up now, you look good.
Welcome back to the Q 105.3 FM KYRO News Radio 1280 AM KYRO. You can always find us at newsradiokyro.com or theqnow.com. This is the Q. I am Mark Bland. It is the birthday show. We've been talking about racism and the Will Smith, Chris Rock situation. And one of the things we were talking about, we were getting into the discussion of, is understanding how this looks. the optics in geopolitics, the optics in regular American politics, the way this looks between cultures, interactions of cultures. And we are talking, there are the poor who are looking at this as a rich guy, maybe a black rich guy who got away with this. You have white, bigoted, and other people who are prejudiced in this world. They don't have to be white. There are prejudiced people who are Latin,
all kinds of prejudice,
all kinds of prejudice, like Chinese, all kinds of prejudiced people everywhere.
One thing I was thinking of though is before people think, oh, it's two white guys talking about stereotypical African American men doing things. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote a piece. He has a blog on a website very similar to what we're talking about Will Smith enabling stereotypes and how upset he is about it. So it's not just
guys.
us.
Okay, so there you go. Mark Bland didn't even know this existed.
Right?
First off, number one, not on my Google search terms of the last 20 years, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at all.
He went a lot further with it. And
sure, no, I'm sure. He gave his side. But my point, I didn't know that. You just brought that up live here on the show, so this is the first time I'm hearing about any of this.
That's what I'm saying.
But my point being, great minds think alike in the idea that, listen, there is a point at which we can't use the race as a crutch any further. Okay? I am not looking like we fought. Listen, I had the lady April who came up with the hashtag Oscars So White a few years ago on my show. Her famous argument to me, and you can go back and listen to the show. You go to theqnow.com and download the episode. You listen to it right now. There's nothing changed on it. Nothing's changed over the years. And April's a great person. I really appreciate her coming on my show. And she was like, but she refused. She flat out refused to accept that the word white was a color. It wasn't Oscar So White as in I'm talking about white people. She tried to turn it in I'm talking about LGBT and I'm talking about trans and I'm talking about, it was like, no, yes, I get it. There are a lot of people that are offended and are prejudiced and bigoted towards specific genres and styles of culture, whether it's trans or Jewish or this or that. Like, I understand that, but your hashtag specifically says Oscars So White. White. Because you didn't like the fact that all the nominees for all the things at the time were mostly white individuals, even though that was the same year, if I remember correctly, that 12 Years a Slave ends up winning Best Picture, which is literally an entirely black cast. So it felt like it was just, once again, that emotional jump. So I have an emotional jump in regards to the Oscars years ago from this lady, and she is African American. And then we now jump down the road. So inclusion, they try inclusion and they try to get more people who are diverse and movies that are diverse and opportunities diverse within all these categories. And they work on it, okay? And then we get to this year's Oscars and we have a black man, African American, who walks up to another African American man and uses violence to try to fix his problem because he's emotionally unhinged at the moment. And it's like, like the hashtag, even though there might be value in this. And because Chris Rock was making for your wife, like I said, I see why you made the move. Maybe not the right time, maybe not the right place, but made the move.
That's a great point. The wrong place.
Like, this is a situation you totally could have run into him backstage and said something to him there.
Pull him aside and be like, hey, I need to explain to you.
By the way, Will, it's way more, like, don't get me wrong. You definitely did it on the grandest stage, so there's no way that I can, like, really deny that, okay, outside of the Super Bowl main halftime show, okay? Right. But we all know there's way more value in the fisticuffs that happens in front of the nightclub at the after party, you know what I'm saying, between your team and their team.
Cell phone video of it going down would have been way more better.
You know, Jada taking her shoes off and throwing them over the top of Will and Chris Rock, things like that. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the thing is
but to get back to my original point, now that we have this, these are observable things in our society, in our reality. This isn't a race thing then. This is Jason as a normal American human being.
Just a guy.
Or just a guy.
Just a guy.
We'll call him just a guy.
Just a guy.
You could be from anywhere in the world listening to the Q right now, and I appreciate you listening. Even my guys in South Africa, I'm not on Cliff Central anymore. I still love you guys. I appreciate all the watches and the listens that I get every single week from you guys. Jason appreciates it. We really like you guys listening to our show. Thank you so much. It doesn't matter where you're from in the world. Let me rephrase. It doesn't matter where you're from in the world. If you're just a normal guy and you watch this happen, you got beliefs and thoughts that go through your head. And the last one was, oh, black dude touching black dude, obviously black dude, black.
Yeah.
Nope, that's not what's going through my mind. All I thought was, Chris Rock just got punched by Will Smith.
That's what
I don't even think about the fact
right?
that Chris is black or that Will's black. It could have been Joaquin Phoenix and Chris. I don't care who it would have been. Could have been anybody. I would have just been like, this doesn't make any sense. This is crazy. I don't know why this just happened. The whole world went onto social media and it said, basically.
And nobody mentioned that they were both black.
No one even mentioned really that they were both black. Now,
in fact, I didn't see anybody mention
people like myself. People like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, obviously, tap into some of these deeper social issues and how they can be viewed from those points of view, because this is what we deal with a lot. That doesn't mean I'm some, like, authority on African Americans or racism or this or that. No. But, like I said, the ability to say that if I'm going to be accused of being this player in the cultural world, then you can't make claims like this over here because it negates what you're trying to say. If you want to have discussions and we want to get to deeper issues in our society. Now, there was an interesting, let's move on. Let's move on. There was an interesting piece that was brought up, was maybe the mental state of Will Smith currently. Now, I am not sure because, ladies and gentlemen,
that marriage has got some stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been dealing with that, which is the mega force itself, Kanye West. Now,
forgot about
for
him.
Months on end.
How did I forget about him?
And him and Pete Davidson, and basically Kanye living his issues out online and in public. Now, weirdly, over the last couple of weeks, he's kind of gone quiet. That's kind of been weird.
Did he lose
and over the last,
or is that just for 24
maybe
hours?
maybe they've worked it out. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that it's kind of like died down. But like for a while there, it was like really, really in the news and on social media and everything every single day of the week. And a lot of it had to do with mental status. And this is because Kanye, historically, over the years, whether he's gone on Oprah and talked about it, or on The Late Show and cried with David Letterman, or like any of these situations, he has always lived his persona and his feelings on his shoulder and on his sleeve out in public. And when we see Will Smith respond like this to Chris Rock, to me, that's showing some of those same tendencies, that emotional lashing out tendencies. Now, completely different situations, isolated incident. Will Smith, guys, let's put Will in the proper context here.
Pete Davidson's done a lot more to Kanye's ex-wife than Chris Rock.
I will tell you this: I am a fan of Will Smith. You can't deny the man isn't a good actor, that you haven't enjoyed his movies over the years, and I understand that this might blight his vibe to you or in your eyes. I understand that completely. I don't knock a single person for feeling that way. At the same point, I'm going to still like Will Smith movies, and I understand that Will Smith typically isn't in the paparazzi's lens or on the cover of the National Enquirer for conspiracies or issues or problems or anything like that, okay? He has not had what we call the Britney Spears style career by any means whatsoever.
You know, speaking of Kanye, you want to hear something crazy? I know and have heard more Will Smith songs than Kanye West. I don't
know if that's actually
Kanye
true.
West song.
Well, but you might know of a bunch that were produced by him and created by him.
Maybe. That I don't know he had anything to do with.
Sure, like Dust Your Shoulders Off by Jay-Z, or, Big Pimpin' from back in the day. It's possible. But there was the mental aspect that was brought into this. And I don't think of Will as typically a person who deals with a lot of mental issues. I do feel, have you ever seen the interview his wife did with him after the
was live on her show?
The entanglement.
See, that's the thing when they talk about defending his wife and all that. She put him on her internet thing she did, or wherever it was, live, and just dropped a bomb on him that she had sex with some rapper.
Exactly.
Like, what? I'm
this
sorry
man
if I don't
is
feel
not
bad
dealing
for Jada Pinkett
with.
Smith.
I feel like that Will might be is okay. So listen, if we're going to dissect it, let's dissect it all the way, right? It's obvious that Jaden and Willow have kind of come up with a certain vibe to them. Yeah. Okay? They're a little bit of the counterculture, but at the same point on the edge of pop culture at all times. Mm-hmm. They are a driving force for different reasons and in different ways to many people out there. Willow's got a hit song right now, the "Meet Me at the Park" or whatever song. It's a popular song that the Afflicted or the Affliction or whatever the name of the group is that does. And you've heard it on pop radio, I'm sure. My point being, and Willow's got that new song with MGK that's really popular right now, Emo Girl or whatever like that. So like these individuals, but if you look at them and you've seen pictures of them growing up over the years, they don't look like they've had the typical upbringing. Now, I understand dad's a famous movie star, mom's a famous movie actress. Like, I understand that they don't live already in a typical world like us, but like they even look like they're counterculture to themselves within the way that they've grown up. Okay. Yeah. To be around a family that's that open and plays the game that loosely, it doesn't surprise me that a Jada would take him and put him on her show on the internet to drop this bomb. Like, it doesn't, once again, wrong time, wrong place, I feel. I feel like this is something that could have been handled a little bit more privately. And Will, if you ever see Will's reactions, like Will goes into...
It was
literally
like 1,000-yard stare.
No, it gets even better. It gets even better. No. Because if you listen to the conversation that happens afterward, Will goes into the same way the guy who's been dating a girl for 6 months and finds out he just got cheated on goes into the conversation. Like, Will breaks down to, let's talk it up, Jada. What's up? Like, what's the deal? Like, what'd you do? Like that. And she like, oh, well, I had an entanglement. Oh, an entanglement. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's what we call it, huh? Entanglement. All right. Okay. And so it's almost like she's playing that Hollywood spin the words
like
to make it
your life
like the way Jeffrey Epstein probably spun a lot of his exploit. No. To be honest, the same way that Jeffrey Epstein probably spun a lot of his exploits to his billionaire friends. Oh, no. We just have some friends over, and
we
we just everybody gets a little loose, a couple drinks, and then things just kind of progress from there.
When they're 15 years old, you have to use the word entanglement.
My point being, he always says, and things progress from there. It always ends with things progress from there. Like it's never like, and then we're gonna go have sex with an underage female. Like it never is that. Okay, so she goes, an entanglement. Like she really kind of blows into that, and it's like Will goes into this like, I've only been dating you for 6 months, and I just found out that you was nailing my best friend. So what's happening? Like, what's the deal? What's going on here? And she's like, and August really needed it. And now, I think that the reason that Will let that fly, honestly, is because if you ever watch it, I watched that entire thing specifically before I did this episode of the show, just so I could kind of see their relationship and how that kind of plays out. Because I already know that they have fun together at times. They wouldn't have gotten married and all this other stuff. I need to figure out the kind of people that they are directly when they're dealing with something of a massive like issue, because that will give me more insight to how Will reacts at the table. Now, I really do think because Will let her off the hook, I think the only reason he let her off the hook simply, Jason, is because they were kind of on a split at the time.
That's what I remember about it. When she told him when we were apart, I did this.
And he even says in the interview, I really did think at that time we were done. We were getting a divorce. We were moving on with our lives. I didn't think this was going to be the way it is today.
Have either of them ever actually said they have an open marriage, or is that just something people put on? I've never followed it.
I've
seen that many times. Yeah, see, I've never heard them say it. I know, but that was something that was floating around after this.
I have absolutely zero clue on that. I have no idea if they do or they don't. All I know is that within the situation, I also feel, though, the way she kind of spun it and he still rolled with it, and the kind of the okay, let me say it this way, guys. People would probably go, hey, how could Harvey Weinstein have gotten away with this to all these actresses and women for all these years and no one did anything or said a word? And it's like, wait, hold on.
I think we found
out. Let me show you in a 2-minute clip, go from 0 to 100. A famous movie actor does something live on TV. The entire rest of all of the thousands of people, literally 2,000 people in this theater, in this place where they're doing the Oscars, not a single one rushes to stop it.
Right.
No one says a word. And by the way, I'll say this too. If I had turned that show on 15 minutes later than when I did, or if somebody had turned the show on 15 minutes later than when it happened, you would have never even known that it had happened at all. No one mentioned it. No one brought it up. No one talked about it. Like, that's Hollywood. It's keep the stiff upper lip at all times. And I even talked about this being the movie actor and understanding how to read the room earlier, but that's keep that stiff upper lip at all times. Do not allow yourself to get involved with anything.
You know what? And that's what you said about how did Harvey Weinstein get away with it, and Will Smith does this and they cheer. It's fear of not fitting in.
It is literally fear of not fitting in. Okay, we're going to take a quick break here on KYRO FM, 105.3 FM, and we will be back right after this with The Q. Welcome back to The Q. Mark Bland, Jason Kull with The Q right here on 105.3 FM, 1280 AM, KYRO, News Radio, KYRO.com. I am your host of The Q, Mark Bland. That's Jason Kull over there. It is the birthday show. And so we are having a good time. I'm a birthday boy. I'm in my 40s, somewhere in there.
65 years
72 years old. I made it to 72. We've been talking about Will Smith, Chris Rock. One last thing, and we're going to move on. We're going to move on to different subjects and topics. But one last thing I did want to bring, we were talking about this off the air, was during the commercial break, was the fact that, you know, Will Smith, you said Kareem Abdul-Jabbar made a point to say that he had stole Jada Pinkett Smith's...
Her moment to defend herself.
Her moment to defend herself. And I said, actually, he went way further than he probably realized and stole everybody's moment from the Oscars that night, because doing that at the top of the show, he stole Questlove's Excellence Award or whatever he got for his documentary, or his documentary
Best
award.
Documentary,
Best documentary award. Okay, fair enough. That was it. And the best picture was Coda, but I didn't even realize it was Coda. No one talked about that. I don't know who won Best Actress or what do they call that? Not the main best actor, but best supporting. I don't even know who the supporting actors or actresses were. Like it stole a lot of people's thunder that night that normally would have got some press and got some love for the things they did. And don't get me wrong, there were people that still did like press for these things, you know, specific movie-based sites. But like your main players, like your big Foxes and CNNs and MSNBCs and all the big networks, ABC, that was all Chris Rock. It was all Chris Rock and Will Smith. So yeah. The man did rob some people that night, and that's not cool.
Way to go.
Beyond that, we're going to move on because there's a lot more going on in this world than you want to know about. And one of the things going on, Jason, right now, is this billionaire's tax. Have you heard about this billionaire's tax?
I got a little bit of it, but...
For people who make over $100 million a household or whatever like that, 20% tax.
It's literally like 12 people or something like that.
Right. It doesn't affect a ton of people, but of course, conservatives, I know it's already affecting your world and your job and your boss. Listen, your boss that only lives a neighborhood away, but just in a $100,000 more expensive house, because he's not living in Bel Air, okay? He's already on top of it because he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. So he's a real player in the world.
He's afraid of a tax that will never, ever, ever
that'll never get to him because he's not even that guy's that guy. Like, it's just down the road.
The idea of billionaire tax or raising taxes, these people have gotten away with so much for so long. It's about time someone finally said, listen.
And I think that's the issue.
Time to tax you. A real tax, a set tax.
Where? Okay.
Squirm out of.
We got Will Smith not getting in trouble for the smack. We've got Donald Trump not getting in trouble for January 6th or anything that he's ever done for the last 4 or 5 years straight. Okay? So for 5 years straight, bad people have gotten away with bad things and not been in trouble for it at all. By the way, you might be sitting in your car as a conservative right now, listening to this show, and you're just white-knuckled right now. You're so angry. You're like, just instead of thinking that I'm talking about conservatives, you, from your viewpoint, just think about all those dirty liberals, all those mean people that are just trying to get you free health care, and they just want those children to not be held in cages. Oh, we know Obama did it too. We got it.
They just want information to be correct, and not lies.
Right, exactly. Right. You just think about the bad people that I'm talking about. The bad people that I'm talking about, those are liberal people, okay? They're the ones who deserve the rich liberal elites. They're the ones ones who deserve this 20% tax on them, okay? So instead of trying to say, no, it's unfair to me and my $100,000 boss, you go, hey, yeah, those liberal elitists with all their money, they need to be, those liberals like Jeffrey Epstein. Harvey Weinstein. And what was that guy's name? Dickman or whatever? That guy Wiener? Yeah, Wiener. Dickman. So anyway, this is my point. This is my point, ladies and gentlemen.
If your name's Wiener, you probably shouldn't do the things he did.
For sure. But there's a billionaire's tax. And Jason, you don't sound like you're against it.
No, why would anybody be against it?
I'm not going to be against this because literally, we've got stories. Okay, I love when gas prices go down. And they go,
isn't it great?
Oh my God, these gas prices are so low right now. And then at the end of that year, they're like, we made record profits again.
Right.
And then the next year,
and then
gas was a little bit more expensive. But then...
And they still get government subsidies.
And they keep telling everybody, we keep passing the buck on to you. It's tough for us. And it's like, no, you are the beginning. Listen, it's either you get into the rock and get the oil or you don't. Like, if you don't, like, it just sits there. So it's not like you are like, you dictate the value of this. Okay? And then it's record profits again. It's record profits every single year. In the hundreds of billions.
And the idea that...
Hundreds of billions.
Well, the idea that taxing these billionaires is somehow going to affect jobs or this or that. Like, if you tax them, they're the job creators. Here's the thing. Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, just like 2-3 days ago, and I don't know what she gave it to. I'd have to look it up. Gave away $250-some million more of his money that she got. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Bezos is spending millions shooting his friends into space.
Okay.
Like, that's what he's doing.
Now, here's the thing. I don't knock Jeffrey Bezos for that. And I'm not going to hold it against him.
I get that. It's
I'm not
his
gonna
money. He can
do whatever you want with it. Like, that's my point.
But the idea that if we tax him, somehow he's not going to create jobs. Well, how about maybe if we tax him, he's not shooting his buddies into space. Maybe were
we the ones that were talking about the International Space Station? Imagine if Jeff Bezos has to come up there because they stranded the Russian.
Yeah, because the Russian was said they were
sit up there. Like, can you imagine the penis rocket comes up to get you?
Shooting, there comes this blue penis rocket to pick up a guy.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes it back. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
My goodness. Oh my goodness. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this billionaire's tax. I don't have problems with these things. I've come to find out that all the taxes that happen to the really rich, but like right now, guys, look at how inflated all your food and everything is. Well, you're already paying the premium right now, and it's only going to get worse right now for stuff. So this idea that they're going to come down and make it worse for you, really? Because they're not getting taxed right now, and it's already worse for you. Do you think they could really make it worse for you?
Well,
nope.
And if you live in Missouri, which if you're listening to us, more than likely you do.
Sure.
If you're upset that Joe Biden wants to do a billionaire's tax, and you're not vocally upset that Mike Parson did a gas tax on you last year,
right?
Then you're losing. You're
losing the game. But Mike Parsons lives in Missouri and he's conservative like me.
Yeah, right. See,
remember, we throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? But when we want to keep one in, we keep them all in. Like they're all with us or they're not. Like it's this weird amalgamation of how you view life and the perspectives you use. I don't know. What I can tell you is that. Have you been paying attention to what's going on with this Ukraine war? It looks like they're in peace talks attempts again. There have been hundreds and hundreds of attacks at Kyiv. There have been multiple peace talks. There have been withdrawal talks. They're not going to shell people, but they did shell people. It seems to me like there's nothing of value going on here. Either take the city or just go home.
Well, then it looks like some of the withdrawals aren't like part of the peace process. It's this, they have no other choice because they're getting beat. Like they're losing some of these areas.
And that's my point I was just trying to make. Like, if you're not going to win or you're not going to really try to win,
so they're kind of
just go home.
Well, how about we withdraw a little bit?
And I know people might read that and go, Mark, but how dare you? Those Ukrainians are dying. Yes, they are. And it's really sad. They shouldn't have to die at all because he never had any attempt or plan to actually win the war in the first place. So guess what? Maybe none of these people should have died. We could have just sat at home and not played the game and known that we weren't going to be effective. Like, this is like, you know what this is? This is like once the kid who's 2 years old realizes when you throw the Super Ball at the ground really hard, it bounces really high, and it's really tiny, and it bounces really fast. It goes a lot of different directions, and they can't figure it out anymore. There's not a lot of bouncing the ball after that. You know what I'm saying? It's like he tried. He went in real hard. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get you with my Scud missiles from 1985. And then nothing happened. He got like 600 Ukrainians, beat down 3,000 of them in one battle. They took their tanks and stuff. It's like, you guys are just Keystone Cops.
He's like a dad.
What a dated reference that was.
He's like a dad that took like his 4 kids to Six Flags when they don't want to go. And that's what he's got going on. Like, the plan didn't seem very effective. It doesn't seem very well orchestrated or executed. But yet they're still there. He won't stop. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're going to Six Flags. Nobody wants to go, but he's making us. And so when we get there and everyone's miserable and they're acting out and, some people are going this way, some people are going that way. And that's what he has going on because there's some areas where the shellings continue. It's severe, it's intense, and it's continuous. And then there's other areas where, that's the drawback. But according to Ukraine and other sources on the ground, it's because they're getting beat down. They don't have the resources to keep up, and they don't have the will and some of the manpower of the fighters to continue. So it's not very. It's kind of I don't know the word I'm looking for is it's disingenuous to say it's a peace process when you're just leaving because you're leaving.
And they literally just had one of their Russian generals get killed.
Yes, they've lost a lot of generals. They've said. They said it was an alarming rate of top officials in their military being killed in this battle.
But here's the thing: people have asked me about talking about the Ukrainian war, and I'm like, I will talk about it, but there really doesn't seem to be any forward progress as of right now. There's just some Russian shelling and fighting between the Ukrainians and the Russians in specific spots. Right. Then it goes dead for a while. They talk about peace talks and having like a no-kills time or whatever they call it. What do they call that? Ceasefire. Ceasefire at the time. But then we never find out what the peace talks were or if they were successful. They're also hours ahead of us, so we're not really sure. The news isn't getting to us. But there's other news going on in the world, ladies and gentlemen. There is other news. Yeah. Because there is one individual who I need to make sure that we discuss really quickly on this show. And I'm excited about this. For the second time, our friend, and I mean this, friend of the show, Alex Jones, has no-showed a Sandy Hook deposition. Yeah. And now the families are looking for him to be arrested.
They rejected. He made an offer of $120,000 per family, and they rejected it.
He rejected it, and I feel like, get him.
Right?
Like, literally, financially, just barely, no. 1.2 million a family.
No, I mean, killing financially.
Well, no, that's what we're saying. Killing them financially. I'm like, make it $12 million a family. Make it like some $190 million that he owes to these people.
What I want to see happen
is he can't get out from her. He can't do his shows. He can't afford anything.
Bankrupt him. Everything away from him that he has.
Listen, he went without any guard onto his shows, willingly knowing that these things had happened.
Knowing it's a lie.
Knowing it was a lie, whether it was presidential elections, whether it was conspiracies. Right. Gay frogs. Do you realize if the Big Frog... If you ever went to Congress and Big Frog got a hold of this, man, Big Frog would be really mad about being all called gay, okay? Like, I don't understand, or homosexual. Like, I don't get this. But my point being, Alex willingly asked for this. Yeah. So if he keeps, and by missing depositions, purposely skeeting out on these situations, listen, he's just asking for the book to be leveled at him, the hammer to be dropped. Do it. Do the same thing to Trump. Guys, listen, hit Will Smith. Like, let us stop pretending it's okay to be bad or mean in society and get away with it.
And I love conspiracy theories. I love it. I love reading them. But there's a difference between, say, what Art Bell used to do when he was alive and what Alex Jones does. Art Bell would have a couple people on and discuss the idea. Are there aliens? Are there this? Is there, did this happen? How about this? He didn't come out and tell everyone this is happening and it's a danger, and if you don't stop it, you're all in trouble. And that's what Alex Jones does. Alex Jones preys on fear. Art Bell preyed on ideas. And whoever is now doing, I'm sure Coast to Coast is still a thing.
Oh, no.
And
yeah,
that's a fine
George
way.
Norrie or whoever took it over.
Discussing conspiracy theories is healthy and fun. Alex Jones, and to another extent, Donald Trump, do it dangerously. They do it by scaring people and moving them to action. And that is dangerous, and that is why
and hiding tens of millions. I'm just looking at some of these different things, like hiding tens of millions of dollars. Think about this. This is money he flees from cavalcades. I mean, cavalcades of idiots who bought his stupid supplements and his shell companies and his financial responsibility. Like, oh my God. Like his offshore accounts are being held up by these like Bernie Madoff style super beats. Infowars.com.
That's another local schmuck, the Super Beats lady.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, it's all one company that just
We're
goes
not even going to mention her name. That's
listen,
how much of a schmuck she is. Even on the radio
that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. It's always the same people that peddle this other stuff that peddle these other same things. And it's like, yeah, we got it. And pillows, amazing pillows.
Always connected to somehow. They're always connected in some way with their idiocy.
All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to answer some questions here on the queue. Me and Jason are going to dive in deep and we're going to talk about some things. We'll be back on the show after this.
And I'm sure you would agree, what could fit more perfectly than to have a world party on the day you came to be. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Q. Mark Bland here on 105.3, 1280 AM KYRO News Radio, KYRO.com. We are your blowtorch, your news station blowtorch of the Midwest. You guys can always find us here at the Q, which is our show that we do, me and Jason Kull here. We've been sitting here talking for a little while about a bunch of different things, but we are just kind of going through some of the news stories of the day. And, Jay, we talked off the air. There's a couple things with our boy Donald Trump that happened since he left office. Okay, first off, Trump used White House phone to make January 6 calls that were not in the official log.
They were not. We know that he talked to at least 2 other congressmen during this time.
Right.
So where did he talk to them?
Right.
On what phone?
It could be on Eric. It could be on anybody else's phone. All it has to be is a separate person's phone.
It wasn't a burner phone because he doesn't know what.
But my point being, all it has to be is somebody else's phone.
Yeah.
And that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything else. Now, they could do cell tower pings and all kinds of stuff if they wanted to figure these things out. They're not going to. Once again, guys, I'm going to say this with impunity, similar to Will Smith walking away from Chris Rock after smacking him. Yep. I will say this. Donald Trump's not going down for anything. I want him to, but he's not because he's a former president of the United States and they do not want to sully the office of president. Right. This is why we allowed Richard Nixon to walk off into the sunset, even though he didn't deserve it. Nope. And with Donald Trump, we have hours, not just minutes, hours of missing information. Hours. Also, something special that came of this information. Donald Trump doesn't know what a burner phone is, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. He doesn't know what a burner phone is. The guy who grew up in New Jersey. First off, could I be so bold as to say, Jason, when you think of television shows that were popular in the United States, do any of them have to do with the mafia at all?
Right.
In history.
That's exactly what I was about ready to say.
And do any of them have to do with the state of New Jersey or Jersey City or Atlantic City specifically?
If you've watched half of a season of any of Law and Order
or Sopranos,
you know what a burner phone is.
Everyone knows what a burner phone is.
Because criminals in every Law and Order episode use a burner phone and cause consternation for the detectives every time.
Has a Twitter burner account. Right? I guarantee you he does. And he has been literally told, do not tweet out on this account. Do not say a word. Don't let anyone know it's you. Do not say a thing. If you want to like things and retweet them, be our guest.
But do not let everyone know.
Do not let anyone know that you are Sparky Ferguson 2430. 785 pound sign, colon, whatever.
About 14 numbers afterwards.
And you know what the best about those accounts are? When you click on them, you go find out the first 3 posts are always, man, I just got put into jail again. Facebook jail or Twitter jail. I'm not going to be able to talk for like 2 weeks, 10 weeks.
Here's the thing is I obviously have lost a Twitter account before. Don't they know how to come up with a special sort of handle that doesn't have 400 numbers?
I have been accused of having Twitter burner accounts in the past. And it's a weird thing that people, I don't know what it is about people, why they feel the necessary to constantly worry about others or get into their business or I comment on people who are verified, usually their accounts. Now, if I find a comment underneath an account that is just a normal person's account and they say something funny or a quip, I might repost it, I might retweet it. If they attack me, in most cases, I'll retweet it, but I'll lock it off so that they can't even, nobody can comment. Yeah. Just so that I can show everybody this. It makes them so angry. Right.
It is an idea of someone.
And here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to me live on the radio right now. Listen to the joy in my voice. I do it on purpose to these people. They literally, they get beside themselves. We got people in St. Louis media. They get beside themselves when I just don't respond. Famously, there was the guys that were talking about me on their radio show, and I won't even get into who it was, but it was really funny because when they came to me, and a whole bunch of people hit me and were like, Mark, they're talking about you on the radio on this morning show, this, that, and the other. And I go, yeah, that makes sense. Lesser popular people tend to talk about more popular people on their shows. Right now I'm talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock and Donald Trump. These are people more popular than Mark Bland, so right? I'm not talking about Tony that I know from Ferguson or Bob that I know from Town and Country. I'm not talking about any of them at all. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm definitely not talking about this guy from St. Charles or that guy from O'Fallon or South City.
Don't you love the ones that just
Why would I care about you guys here? You do nothing for me.
But they just can't understand why you don't want to engage with them.
They don't understand how they can't be of value. Yeah. See, they think that every word that comes out of their mouth is gold.
Right.
Like Donald Trump, they think it's gold, and so they'll say anything at any time. Kind of like, I don't know what a burner phone is.
Right.
I don't know what a burner phone is. Because what I say off the air, I said anytime Donald Trump doesn't know about something, he is the first to say, I'm the bigliest, bestiest, greatest, I'm the smartest human being.
Nobody knows more
No one knows more about this than me. COVID, this, that, the other. But
when it's important,
it's important.
Trouble.
It's like, I've never heard of that. That's so weird that you would even bring that up.
Jeffrey Epstein, I think I met him one time. Is he the guy that owns the New York Times? It's like, no, Donald, that's not him.
Yeah, man. We also have right now going on in Florida.
Of course.
Which, by the way, my new favorite Florida man is Ron DeSantis. He is Florida man at this point. It's because every move, like I said a few weeks ago on the show, he made a great move. He made it so that you had to, and I'm not sure if you were on this show or not, Jason. There was a bill that was passed where it said that they had to take a financial literacy course.
Yes.
All kids in high school had to take a financial literacy course.
Which is a good idea.
Which is a great idea. Which is a fantastic idea.
But then he follows it up with saying that you can't tell people you're gay.
Right. This is the
makes no sense.
Don't say gay bill. And it's like, you literally called it Don't Say Gay.
What is going on?
This is like Donald Trump who couldn't get over China virus.
Yeah.
It's just come up with a name that is oddly dismissive and off-putting, throw it onto people and attack them with it, and use it as your way to market your campaign. Ron DeSantis thinks that he's going to win presidency of the United States in 2024.
Can you imagine that?
No, he really believes. Now, people have said, but Mark, we all didn't think that this reality, and they're right. They're 100% right. I'll be the first to say, could Ron DeSantis win? Sure. Once again, I'll play the Hillary Clinton card. Sure, he could win. But I don't think that Ron DeSantis is doing the juice that he needs to do in order to get away with the win he's talking about. Like, that's the whole country that's supposed to like you or know you.
He's an actual politician. And right now, the Republican Party do not know who actual politicians are.
Yeah, they have no clue. What they know is
TV
people who are emotional and then just say things.
Say
and you know what?
Mean things
you know what?
People they also don't like.
Listen. Mitch McConnell has been just as guilty of it over the last 5 years as Donald Trump has. Remember the day of January 6th? Oh my God, this was a travesty, and this, that, and the other. The next day it was like, we need to censure this and that and the other. He's like, oh, nope, I'm abstaining from the vote. We're not voting on that. Nope.
Here's the thing,
I won't double down on the thing I literally just said yesterday was a bad thing. I can't admit it in real public record.
When I'm looking for a president or even a governor, heck, even a mayor, I don't want anyone that talks like I do. I don't want anyone that says the things I say about people. I don't want anyone. I want someone professional. I don't
But
want
see, this is the problem. The individuals that are Trump supporters, they don't.
Right.
Life is simple for them.
Right.
Life is very slow, very simple. It's not fast paced. It's not bang bang and bum rush and this that. It is for the police officers and the military people that are involved in life who vote for Donald Trump and support him. But beyond that, Hillary or Teresa or Brittany or Tammy, anybody, Pam Hupp, it doesn't matter which one it is. Like all of those people. They're just whatever someone tells them, that's what it is. That's just life.
Instant gratification from their politicians. They want Trump to say mean things in the now. They don't think 4 years ahead that he's going to be president for 4 years. If they did, they would have known we got what we deserved.
And isn't it funny, if I could be so bold, because we are edgy here on theCUBE, have you ever noticed anytime they go to these rallies and they want to talk to these females that are hardcore Trump supporters with like the cowboy hat with his face on it, and then she's wearing a rhinestone jacket, she's always big boobed, she's got blonde hair, she's literally, and she is the walking embodiment, we're talking about stereotypes here, she is the walking embodiment of somebody that you know loves to just be smacked around and told mean things all the time because that's where she came from. That's who raised her, that's her grandpa did, maybe not did anything mean or abused her in some form of affection like that. I'm saying like just rough people in their life, they're just beating them down verbally, like everything like this.
They want to.
Hey, Lan, when I deliver pizzas in the past, I would walk into houses, trailers, lower income housing, apartment complexes, where I literally watched parents just do horrible things. I watched a guy one night, and it was the toughest thing I had to do to hold back. But I watched a guy one night throw a fork. Now, mind you, the kid was yelling at his mom when she answered the door. Okay? White family. White family. Mom is yelling at the kid as she answers the door. Now, the kid's like 7 to 8 feet away from her. He says something to her, and then he turns around and he starts to walk fast towards his room. We know what's getting ready to go down here as parents. Eventual door slam is coming, right? Yeah. Because I am mad and I have to go slam the door. Elijah, you damn you!
Gotta slam the door.
Damn you, Elijah!
Don't, right?
Damn you, Elijah! It's Elijah, right? Elijah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He slammed a few doors.
I'm sure he did. Who slammed the most? Which one?
Ethan.
By far. Oh, Ethan. Ethan's the angry one.
He's like, the door slammer.
He's the door slammer. Okay, so Ethan slams the door. Okay.
He actually broke a door
She
frame.
grabbed a fork that happened to be sitting there was it could be a TV cabinet that was sitting right here, you know, where the TV sits in it or whatever like that on the top. She grabs a fork off the top of it and then just backhand wings it at him. Like single knife throw, wings it at him.
It's like
with
John
the door,
Wick or something.
with the door wide open. This is why I said when I write my book Delivery, I've got so much good stuff. Like people don't
Isn't
understand.
delivering just the best?
Seriously.
Everyone needs to do it.
So
at least
you
once.
should. Everybody should deliver at least once in your life. And by the way, it's okay to have a part-time job. Listen, I want all of you out there to know, I don't care if you're Republican or you're Democrat. I don't care what you're. Listen, if you want to be successful and you have more than one job, so you could be a radio show host and you could work at Burger King. You could. You could be a radio show. You could be the assistant manager of a Burger King. You could
taking selfies with
Listen, you could work at Panera.
Right?
You can work wherever you want to work. It doesn't matter where you want to work. If you have more than one job, you're actually doing your part. Like you're literally paying more taxes than a lot of other people are. So guess what? Respect those people.
Wasn't it Daniel Tosh that said he wished everyone would wait tables at least once in their life?
Oh, they should.
Right? Yeah.
I think that, I think
and
they
you would treat people better.
I think, literally, I'm sorry, Chris Bryant, 140, 60, 100,
178,
$100 million contract. I want you to Babe Ruth it. I want you to Lou Gehrig it. I want you to go work in the steel mill between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. and then on game days you get off at like 3 earlier. Right.
Work in the mill.
No, even once they worked during the season.
Yeah, some of them did.
Like during the early days of professional baseball, they worked for their jobs during the season.
Well, some of them made like $8,000.
And only on days they had to travel were they allowed to get off. And if they had a game, they just got off early that day. That was it. Like they still had to go to work that day and work and then go play baseball that night. So I think that all actors and actresses. I think that that should be how we work as a society.
I guarantee if you ever deliver anything, food, whatever, you will treat people better when you're done. You will not be who you are.
Well, like
now.
I said, it took me everything to hold back. Now, this was quite a few years ago. Like, at least, let's see here. This is probably 07, 08, maybe 09 at the latest, but I think it's like 07, 08. Like, I was a younger man. I was in my 30s, my earlier 30s at that time. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was many years ago. So the head on me was a little different. But I was also in my 30s. It wasn't like I hadn't been around the block a few times. When I saw her wing the fork at the kid, the only thing that saved the situation was he'd already gotten to the door and started to close it before it landed on the floor, bounced off the floor, and hit the door. So she didn't even get it all the way in the air to where he would have been anyway.
You have to wonder,
it's just the idea. It's just the idea. The idea that you're willing, while there's another human being that you don't know at all, standing there, maybe an off-duty cop that happens to be picking up like work on the side or something like that, you wing a fork at a human being and it could stab them in their back.
But think about it, like, did she know she grabbed a fork? Maybe she just grabbed whatever.
Oh, no.
That could have been a knife.
I think she was just grabbing for whatever. It happened to be a fork, and she just winged it.
That could have been anything.
I totally agree with you on that. I don't think that there was any... like hiding that or whatsoever. But yeah, man, like this world, it's funny at this age now, which by the way, people have asked, so your birthday, it's your birthday. How old are you? I'm 46 years old.
That's that age, man.
But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a good age.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break on the cue. When we come back, I want to go through some ranker lists. You know what ranker is?
Yes.
I want to go through some ranker lists. I want to see what they got for like best this, best that. I want to break down
sometimes
some stuff.
I agree. Sometimes
I want to see
don't
music like best, grunge metal.
Oh, there we go.
Best
Let's
grunge
see what
metal.
they think.
Let's see like the ranker of best grunge metal.
If there's ever been,
that's our wheelhouse for our age, right?
That's the pitch.
All right, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with grunge metal breakdowns from Ranker right after this on KYRO.
Check. 1, 2.
It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. That's right. It's my birthday. Welcome back to KYRO 105.3 FM, 1280 AM News Radio. KYRO, the blowtorch of the Midwest here out in beautiful St. Charles County, Missouri. And all this out here, the beautiful areas that we are in, as well as St. Louis. You know, we reach St. Louis. We talk to St. Louis. We definitely cover St. Louis. That's where we are based at.
Beautiful.
And we went to break talking about grunge music. That's what we thought. We were like, Jason, wouldn't it be really, really cool if we were able to sit here and break down like the top whatever grunge songs? Wouldn't that be amazing? And you were like, oh my God, that'd be our wheelhouse, Mark, and it's your birthday, and Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, so yeah, this is all working out. And then I got to Ranker.
Yeah.
And we looked up grunge, and they really don't have any options, but I do have something that I feel will suffice.
They'll be in there.
Best rock songs of the 1990s.
Yeah.
Okay?
I like to hear
So
them.
with rock music, right? We've got styles of rock. Like grunge is a style of rock. So
from
there will
90
be
to 94.
But honestly, let's be truthful. Before we even go into this list, there is a really good chance anyway, the majority, because we just pulled this up out of the blue.
Yeah.
This list is probably going to have a lot of grunge anyway, because that was the majority of the 1990s anyway.
Should be a few of them.
So we're going to do the top 25. You want to do the top 25?
Sure.
Let's do the top 25.
I want to hear it.
Starting at number 25, we have an individual who, well, he's a loser, baby. So why don't you just kill him? Why don't you just kill him? Beck, Loser, comes in at number 25.
Oddly enough, it's a song that he stopped playing live for a long time. And I know
Why do they do that?
Right?
Okay, bands that made tons and tons of money. Yeah, y'all were adulterated with each other like Fleetwood Mac, but you're still making tons and tons of money. It's 2 hours.
Song.
Guys, it's 2 hours on stage together.
Right, yeah.
You can put it all to the side. It's your most known song. Come on, man. Rip off a 3 minute and 20 second.
He's playing it again.
Listen, you don't even have to do it. Like, you can just do your version of the song that you want everybody to hear. Like, it doesn't have to be, but that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. I'm glad he's doing it
He was
again.
playing it again, but...
Number 24. Now, this is a band I do love. I actually like their stuff that they did into the early 2000s a little bit better than I like their 90s stuff. Their 90s stuff's iconic.
Okay.
But the stuff that they did in the early 2000s kind of was a little bit more that surf rock vibe that I enjoyed, which is Red Hot Chili Peppers' Under the Bridge.
They have a new album coming out.
Under the Bridge. Where do we stand on Under the Bridge? I don't even think that's their best. I like it's a song. It's a good song. I don't think it's their best.
I mean, it's off what I think is their best album.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm at 24 right now, and I'm not looking past like the one before it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how many more they have on this list.
It's kind of
from
like,
here on out, because they could
is?
have a couple easily. And like, I could see Under the Bridge being on this list. I could see
Give It Away.
Give It Away, obviously, being on this. Like,
Under the Bridge is kind of like their Sweet Child of Mine with Guns N' Roses. Well, most of their stuff's a little heavier than that,
right?
But it's their song to get into the radio, and it's.
I don't even think it's got, but I don't think it's got their best hook or their best their best riff.
It's their most radio friendly, I think, off that album.
23, a band that I really, really enjoy. I really like this band, and I actually liked El Scorcho, their second album, better than their first album. Weezer.
I do too. I own
Weezer, the Sweater album, right? It's called the Sweater album or the whatever.
Pinkerton is. Or
there was Pinkerton. There was El Scorcho. That was
El Scorcho's a song on Pinkerton.
On Pinkerton. I'm sorry. That's what I was talking about.
The first album is called the Blue Album because they literally have like 5 albums.
That's the one with the sweater song. That's the sweater song.
Undone, yeah.
Yeah, so Buddy Holly is also on that album, and that's what really kind of catapulted them to stardom. And honestly, Weezer...
I like their second album better.
What I like about Weezer... They're not afraid to play around and have fun. They're not afraid to try new genres and styles. Like Beverly Hills was a good song. Yeah. Like they have that ability to kind of...
They can mix it up.
Let's just say their range is wide, and I like that. I like a band that's got the range. 22, a band of ska music. I really do miss ska in its purest form.
What is that like?
Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, the impression that I get. Number 22, fantastic song. Like that's one of those one-hit wonder songs. Even though they had more than one hit, anyone who is a fan of them knows that they have more than one hit.
Yeah.
Most people, if they hear the name, the only one they can name is this song.
Yeah, they have one-hit wonder is a subjective thing because. They have that's a one-hit radio.
That is technically a one-hit wonder of the 90s.
Yeah, but if you're a fan, there's more songs that you're looking for at a live show.
But see, like with like Weezer, we got Sweater Song plus Buddy Holly. Then we also get El Scorcho and other things off Pinkerton. Then we get 2 or 3 more off this one.
And by the time
we don't have that with the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Yeah,
like we have this one album
by Weezer.
We have this one album with like the Rascal King, Impression That I Get, 3 like really solid songs. I can't remember what the third one is. Number 21. This is an artist that's kind of rough for me. This is a rough artist for me, and I'll tell you why. I've never understood... I think she's good. I think she's talented. And I don't mind hearing her voice or her singing because I know she's good at what she does. But I don't buy into Alanis Morissette.
I know, me neither.
And really that Lilith Fair 1994, 93, 95.
Those tours.
Like the early You Ought to Know days. Because that's the song at 21, You Ought to Know. Which was the one that catapulted her to her success. But at the same point, like, my wife loves them. Most girls do. I'm sure your wife probably likes Alanis Morissette, or at least a song or two. Like, you know,
we own that album. You know, here's a fun fact of that: Dave Navarro played guitar on that, and R.I.P.
Taylor Hawkins.
Taylor Hawkins was a drummer, a live drummer.
I
don't think he played on the album,
which is kind of sad. 50 years old, but a lot of stuff in his system, man.
A lot of stuff in the system,
and an hour before the show.
Apparently, there's like an enlarged heart situation going on as well.
Sure, yeah, but it was like an hour before the show, and he had like 15 different substances that should not be mixed at the same time in his system. Like, this was not a situation that was working out. And it was in Brazil, so you know it was going to be one of those sweaty, a lot of bright white lights that show the entire crowd of Brazilians, and they're all just soaking wet because they're just sweating all the time.
If it turns out to be that's the problem with prescription drugs is people feel because it's prescribed by a doctor, it's okay to take all of them at the same time. And it's not.
Now, I think the name of this band is... Okay, it's Semisonic. Fair enough.
Closing Time?
Closing Time by Semisonic is number 20 on this list.
I don't know.
Closing Time. I do like that song.
It's a song.
You know what? Whenever a band finds yeah, exactly. That's a hardcore.
That might be the one hit wonder of the 90s.
No,
do you think?
No. I think that there's other one.
I mean, outside of like Macarena or something crazy like that.
No. I feel like You mean of rock?
Yeah, just of rock.
No.
No,
I'm
at least
sure
top
there's
5
I'm
of
sure,
one-hit wonder songs where it's like a genuine, like, no other.
Well, let's
like,
see what else pops
you
up
don't
on our
know
list.
another Simi-Sonic song, and neither do I.
Let's see what pops up on our list. Let's see what pops up on our list, and then we'll go from there, okay? That was number 20, right? Correct. Number 19, a band that definitely does not have a one-hit wonder by any means. Killing in the Name of Rage Against the Machine.
That's a good one.
That is a really good one.
That might not be my favorite song
19
right now.
though. 19 is where I got the problem. We're ranking this as 90s rock songs. And to be honest with you, Killing in the Name
That's
of
really
or
early
Bulls
90s
on
too.
Parade, one of those two.
Bulls on Parade is awesome.
Should or could be top 5.
Yeah, Bulls on Parade especially. That's intense.
Now you do what they told you, but Killing in the Name of,
Killing in the Name of
that's
is
such
good.
a
That's off their first album.
like that's a great beginning to a song. Number 18, a band that knows literally superstardom, but weirdly comes from a genre not used to producing what we consider pop or rock superstars at all. Green Day, Longview, at number 18.
Okay,
that makes sense. Basket Case, a little different story for me. You tell me Basket Case, I'm going, oh, that's a top 5. That might be top 5, top 10 for sure of 90s rock songs.
I think it's Longview because of the lyrics.
I think it's Longview because of the riffs. I think these riffs are what's really drive, like the guitar-driven riff.
Well, Longview's got that killer chorus. The kick-in chorus. It's got the loud, quiet chorus.
Sit around and watch the sun.
Right.
Okay, number 17. That was horrible Green Day, by the way.
That was great.
Number 17. Something that I would definitely identify with the 90s, early 90s for sure, definitely rock. Probably number 1 in the heavy metal genre of the 1990s.
Here we go.
If it's the number 1 heavy metal song of the 1990s,
Number of the
think
Beast.
what do you think it is?
Number 1.
No, it's not Iron Maiden. They can't even get on the damn rock and roll list, okay? Stop it.
Oh, they were number 1? All right.
Listen. I understand that Gary famously came on the show, and Gary loves them, and he absolutely hates me.
He will die on that hill.
We
that
literally,
man
and
will
he
die
has
on that
gotten
hill.
as angry can be
I love
live
him
here on
too,
the
though,
show.
Gary.
Here's the deal, okay? Even the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has cut off Iron Maiden as well. Like, no, stop this, okay? This is too much. You're trying way too. This is not you, okay? Jethro Tull shouldn't be there either, so don't feel bad. Okay, let's go on. All right, and Jethro Tull should have definitely beat this band at all. It's
Metallica.
At all.
Right?
What's the song, though?
Inner Sandman?
It is. Number 17, Enter Sandman on the ranker list.
You can't argue with that.
I feel like that's fair.
It's probably not my favorite song by then, but yeah, how you gonna argue that?
It's really difficult with so much good grunge throughout the 1990s and rock in general that a metal band would make the top 10. Though, if there was one song that I thought that could do it, would be that or Unforgiven. It would be that or Unforgiven.
Yeah,
There's
it's a really good song too. Even though it's slower, but it is.
Number 16 is a unique one. This is more of the pop rock genre. Goo Goo Dolls, Iris. Now,
okay.
I do not mind.
I thought it would have been Name.
I do not mind Goo Goo Dolls. I do not mind Slide or Iris or their songs because I feel like it's very nostalgically intertwined with my college radio days as well as my young college days.
Like for me, if you were
like, guys, I was going to PCU was my life. I went to college in 1994 where Red Meat is getting thrown and everybody's sectioned off. The nerds were. And by the way, in 1994, if you were playing Dungeons and Dragons, not cool to talk about in social.
Yeah,
or on social media. No, you are a nerd, okay? Video game people, nerds. Like, you were not cool. Like, I'm sorry.
Now it's cool, though. But if you were to grab me and wake me up in the middle of the night and go, Jason, name a Goo Goo Dolls song, I would say Name. That would be the one I would say.
Okay. Number 15, what I consider a top 5, personally, of the 1990s.
That's good.
And probably one of my top 5 of all time for me, Better Man, Pearl Jam.
That's a good one.
Fantastic song. I think it's well done. Pearl Jam also comes in at number 14.
Wow, right
back to back. Jeremy comes in at number 14, which was part of their original album that kind of broke who they were and made everybody very powerful video. Like, I understand. And Pearl Jam is like, along with Nirvana, that stereotypical, what you consider
90s, right?
Smashing Pumpkins,
had the look, right?
Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, Nirvana,
Shorts.
Green Day. Like, oh yeah, okay.
Aren't lists fun?
Number 13, Blur, Song 2. Great entry. I don't know if I would put it in the top 15. I feel like Blur's Song 2 was kind of, that could be viewed to us here in America as a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
For sure.
The whole album
But then
great.
here's the funny thing. People, for anybody out there who doesn't know this, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
They become the Gorillaz. Blur, Song 2, like that band becomes the Gorillaz.
Yeah.
So he becomes the Gorillaz, but it's the same guy. It's the same mind, same everything.
That album is fantastic, but Song 2, my only knock on it would be it's kind of a gimmicky song. It's 2 minutes long. It's really fast. It's got the woohoo. It's got all that,
Number 12, Metallica once again. This time for one. Which is understandable. It's up for the Grammy. That's the one that went. Right, but that's okay. Fair enough. Yeah. But I feel okay. Let's number 12. We're gonna. That's a 1988.
Must have been re-released or something.
It might have been.
Or you know what? A live version maybe came out in the 90s.
This one, I think. Whoa, I feel alive. Whoa. That's Pearl Jam, right? Alive. Pearl Jam, Alive. Right? I feel alive. Yeah. Pearl Jam. Number 11. Alive. Number 10, this is where we're getting the top 10. We start off with No Rain. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
That's a one-hit wonder. That's a true one-hit wonder, though.
Yeah, I mean, they had something else, but yeah, I mean...
What was the name of the band?
Blind Melon.
Blind Melon. I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, he died.
Bittersweet Symphony comes in at number 9. One of the Bittersweet Symphony...
That's a one-hit wonder.
Bittersweet Symphony is one of these, sentimental favorites that gets thrown in onto these lists because it's just the one song people have heard in an elevator enough to where they're like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what song that is.
Just like 2 years ago, they got all their money back. The Rolling Stones gave it back.
Number 8, later Green Day from the late 90s. Good Riddance, Time of Your Life.
Yeah.
Great song.
I'm
great song.
That's not number 1.
Number 7. No, we're getting into some heavy hitters now for 90s because this group at number 7 definitely screams 90s iconic. REM, Losing My Religion.
Oh, yeah.
So that is definitely, I would say, a top 10. Number 6, Offspring, Self-Esteem.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot about.
Come out and play. That's a great.
That's a first album. It was really
that's a
good.
great. But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of grunge. There's a lot of that '90s vibe infusion into the '90s rock style.
First post Kurt Cobain death bands too.
Number 5 doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me one bit at all. Number 5, Black Hole Sun.
Okay.
All right. Soundgarden. We're knocking that one out. Number 4, Zombie, the Cranberries.
Do
like that one? That's a grand.
There's a lot of dead people on this list.
Number 3, I think, is the Foo Fighters. You spoke of Taylor. Yeah. Early Foo Fighters, Everlong.
Okay. Although he didn't play on that one, though.
Fair enough. I'm just saying you mentioned his death. Number 2, Nirvana, Come As You Are.
That's a good album.
And number 1, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Wow, they would.
I feel like that this is a pretty solid list. I'm kind of amazed we didn't get
no Alice in Chains in there.
I got no Alice in Chains on here.
Like off that some other acoustic stuff.
Or even Rooster, like some of those songs. Yeah, like some of those songs. Like I don't understand.
We'll swap out one for Rooster.
It is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top 25 as said by Ranker. Top 25 bands or groups, songs of the 1990s. We had a lot of grunge in there. What are yours? It was good. There was a lot of grunge in there, and we finished off with Nirvana in the top 2 spots. So, I get it. It makes sense. It's time for us to get out of here on the queue, though, Jason. This is my birthday show. It's been amazing.
It's been fantastic.
We've had a fantastic birthday party here for us at the station. You guys can find us online at Mark Bland, at the Nice Jason's account, or is just Nice Jason? At the Nice Jason.
It is a nice account as well. I'm very kind, very courteous.
It's the Nice Jason.
Hardly ever say
at
stupid.
Mark Bland or at theqnow.com. TheQNOW.com. That's the website. Old episodes, new episodes, and everything here at 105.3 FM KYRO, 1280 AM, newsradiokyro.com. That's newsradiokyro.com. That's going to do it for us on this episode of The Q. Next week, 500th episode, bro.
500.
We might have some special guests come on and talk with us that we haven't talked to in quite a long time, so I'm really excited about that. But that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys next time on The Q.
I stay fresh to death like the neighborhood dope man. I stay on the top cause I keep coming with dope man. You steady watching stealing, but there ain't no hope, man. You dealing with something bigger than the U.S. Open. It ain't no joking. Fresh like that.